Hi friends, Carolyn Banner here of Body by Banner, and I just spontaneously wanted to jump on here because it had been a while since I've talked to you guys. I wanted to share some of my thoughts on why resolutions fail. So it's that time of year, right? It's January, we've gotten through the first week and I feel like I'm just starting January. I'm just starting 2018 because Oli just started back into school, my son, and I'm finally having some time to plan out the year and really focus in on my business again and my personal goals as well. So I'm not really a huge one on making big old resolutions and making this big 10-point plan or anything like that, but I definitely take time to step back and think about what I want to feel and what I want to embrace for the year. What are my intentions for the coming year, both with my business, with Body by Banner, and personally in my life, with my workouts, with my relationships, with my friendships, all of that. I really want to set the intention. My word for 2018. So I did this a couple of weeks ago with the ladies in the Magic Makers movement. We did a call, our happy hour. We do a happy hour call every month. And we took time to really reflect on the last year and burn things that we wanted to let go of from 2017. So we wrote all those down from 2017 and burn that shit up. And then we also took time to write down what we want to embrace, like all the experiences that we want to feel and take on and have in 2018. And what was like the overarching theme with all of those experiences. What was one word or phrase that ties those all together? And for me, it was soul, like staying connected to my soul. So I definitely take the time to come to those things. But I also see a lot of people around me, a lot of people at the gym, all these newbies at the gym, which I love. I'm loving that there's more people showing up at the gym. There's more people kind of to fend with, to get into the barbell rack or to get on the treadmill or to just get space in the gym. And that's great. I love seeing new faces in there. However, what I don't love seeing is in February, in March, or in the months, or people start to come to me, my friends or family or clients, and they have this like guilty expression on their faces, like a confessional. Like, yeah, I really wanted to get back in shape. I really want to start work out again, or I really want to start eating well. And it's not happening. It's not working. Whatever their resolution was isn't feeling good for them, isn't happening, isn't working out. And they feel like a failure. And that's the worst feeling, right? Is when you set the intention for something and you want to have it happen and you want to kind of create this new healthy habit and you don't feel like you're making any progress, and that you're letting not only yourself down, but maybe your trainer or your coach or your family or whoever you said before, if you put it out there into the public, if you said it, then you feel like a failure. And that can really kind of set you up to not continue to make new resolutions or to make new intentions or goals for your life if you feel like you can't fulfill it and can't make any progress. So I want to talk today a little bit about why I think they fail, why people who set resolutions or why these resolutions are failing. And like I said, it's just kind of a spontaneous Facebook Live that I wanted to do and share with you guys. And I've been thinking about it and thinking about the people I see at the gym that are coming, people that share with me, friends and family, you know, like the new year, like what they want to do for the coming year, and what I've seen from the past from working with clients. So I worked with probably thousands, thousands of patients in the past when I did clinical nutrition. I worked in a dialysis unit, and in the dialysis unit especially, where I worked for 5 years, I worked a lot with patients. We built relationships, and I got to see the same patients that came in for Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday treatments. And so I got to sit down with them and go over like labs with them and work on specific things that they needed to try and improve on because they were under dialysis and they needed to be really careful about certain foods. And so we did a lot of nutrition education. And the thing that kept coming up was that they would try something and then they would feel like a failure if they couldn't do it. And that failure I would see this, if the patients who could have some small wins, that could have some feeling like they could get their feet under them and feeling like they could make progress and have some achievements, they were the ones that would excel, that would soar, that would be doing really well and have the best outcomes. The ones that would have a lot of feelings of a lot of failure and that they couldn't follow through or that they couldn't achieve what they were setting out for, that we would work on together, they would feel defeated and they wouldn't feel like they're making progress. But the difference between these two groups, the ones that were actually feeling like they were getting some small wins and the ones that were feeling like failures and not achieving their resolutions, were that the ones that were winning were the ones that were doing things that they enjoyed, that they were doing things that felt good for them and that were passionate about. So the people that were just trying and they weren't really tuned in to what were realistic changes, they were just trying to drastically maybe change everything all at once. They were feeling defeated because they weren't making any progress. They kept, like trying a lot of things and not feeling really excited about any of them, and then maybe do it for a couple days and then fall off the wagon. And the same thing, but with the people that were winning and that were getting the results that they wanted and achieving like the labs that they needed to, when you're on dialysis, you have to be very careful with your diet because your kidneys aren't working for you. And so with these patients, they would pick one thing, usually, one thing to work on. And they would do something that they actually felt like they could, if it was either watching their fluid intake or if it was watching their potassium intake or their phosphorus or taking the pills that would help control their phosphorus levels, whatever it was, they would have this kind of like potpourri of things that they could pick from. They picked one. They picked the one that felt the easiest for them. They picked the one thing that felt like they could do and feel good about doing it, because they would be like, yeah, I got this. And once they got that thing that they felt good about doing and then that felt like the easy thing at the beginning, once they got that under their belt, they would add something else. And then you would build some wins and you'd feel like you had some momentum. So what I find I see among people that maybe drop off from going to the gym, or people that I've worked with in the past and they can't find something that clicks for them, the ones that kind of fall off to the waysides or that come back to me with that guilty feeling of like, oh, I'm sorry, I dropped off, or I had this goal of doing push-ups. This is another one that people bring to me because I love push-ups, and I post on social media a lot that I do push-ups, and that they're like, I really want to finally be able to do full push-ups this year. And then what happens though is that they don't really enjoy it. They don't find a process that feels good for them, that they're not passionate about. So it's finding something that we can be passionate about that will go override this inertia that we might have. So finding something a way of doing it, one small thing that we feel is achievable, that it's not gonna be a huge disruption to our lives, just one small thing. So with the example of doing like push-ups, so a lot of women want to finally do full push-ups. They don't want to do girly push-ups, push-ups on their knees, or modified push-ups. They want to finally be able to do full push-ups. And really the only way that's going to happen though is through consistent effort. And if it's something though that you don't enjoy doing, because you have to do it consistently in order to see gains, it's not going to happen. People are going to drop off. So finding something about it that you love. And I usually say finding 3 things. So if there's a new habit you're trying to take on and it's something that you're feeling resistant to create 3 things around it that are sort of wins or gains for you. I'm going to give you an example from my own life. So 3 things. So taking this like idea of resistance, that you have resistance to something and you have to kind of create like bribing yourself a little bit, 3 wins for yourself. If you do this thing, you gain 3 things from doing it, or like there are 3 positives. So I call it the power of 3. And if you do these 3, if you think about and incorporate 3 positives for this new habit change that you're feeling some resistance to, but you ultimately want the end result, it's going to make it so much easier to do that thing. So for instance, this has probably been like 2 years now that I really wanted to start including more leisure walking in my day. So leisure walking is just like slower paced walking, not speed walking to burn calories, but just slowing down in nature, ideally, not on the treadmill, but outside, and getting fresh air, slowing down, lowering cortisol levels, and helping to balance out some more intense training that I was doing and building that into my routine. And I'm someone who loves to go, and I don't want to slow down generally. I used to be, especially this way. And so for me to think about incorporating leisure walking, which would be 30 to 60 minutes a day, which just seemed like so much time. And it was at the beginning of starting Body by Banner, and I just felt like I had not enough time. I was a mom, and I was trying to do all these things, like build my website, get my Facebook page going, get Instagram, figuring all those things out. And I was pretty clueless about it. And start blogging and start working with clients. And I was personal training and teaching yoga, all these things. So think about adding in 30 to 60 minutes of slowing down when I just felt like I needed to push the gas constantly was so hard for me. I had so much resistance to that. But I really wanted that end result. My resolution was really strong. I was very passionate about the end result of lowering my stress and balancing out. I knew that if I kept pushing myself, especially as a mom with getting bad sleep, that I would get burned out. And then I knew that I was going to hurt my body if I kept pushing the exercise and not balancing it with some restorative movement. So I was really passionate about it, but I just knew that it was going to be hard. So I built in 3 things that were positive to me about leisure walking. And I had to get really clear on what the 3 positives were. And they were having time to myself. So even if I was pushing my son in the Bob stroller around the lake in the park near our house, I would have my earphones in and I would tune him out. And it sounds kind of bad maybe as a mom, but it was my time. And he was fine. There's so many things to watch for him. He was intrigued in watching everything else. And I would take him out if he was really upset or anything like that. Of course, I would take care of him. But I kind of signaled to him that this is my time. So I created it as positive was my time. So getting some time to be in my introverted self, sort of block the world out a little bit from around me. The second thing that was really positive for me was to listen to podcasts. So I really enjoy listening to podcasts, and it's hard to find the time to do that, but it was a win for me. I was like, awesome, I can get 2 birds with 1 stone, which as a go-getter, kind of push the gas person, felt really good. I was like, yes, I'm getting a lot done here. So I'm doing not only leisure walking, but I'm also getting in some podcast listening and learning. So I would listen to not only podcasts, but the training, like webinars and things that my business coach, Jill Coleman, was putting out for us each month. So that was the second thing, was that it was my time to learn and invest in myself. So I was having time to myself to kind of feed my introverted meter a bit. And the second thing was I got to learn and to spend that time fulfilling what I wanted to do with listening to podcasts and webinars and education. The third thing was getting outside, just being in nature. And for me, ever since I've been a little kid, like being outside I need it. I really need it. And so that was like a huge positive for me, especially now, or especially then when I had switched. A lot of my role had been before I started trying to incorporate leisure walking. It was right at the time when I was starting my online business. And when you start an online business, when you're an entrepreneur, you're inside a lot, sitting on your butt. You're not outside. And before that, like a few months before that, before I had my son, I had been outside a ton. I was biking everywhere around the city to go train clients and to teach boot camp classes. I was teaching boot camp classes outside. I was biking to teach yoga classes that were inside most of the time. But I was outside so much. And so then when I became an entrepreneur, I missed that. And so that was a huge positive for me. That third thing was to just be outside in nature. So when I was getting really clear, so I had some resistance to this of taking 30 to 60 minutes a day to do leisure walking. But my ultimate passion was, I knew it was important, right? I knew that I needed to have some restorative movement to mentally and physically to restore my mind and physical body. And so because I had that resistance to it, I got really clear on 3 positive things that I would gain from that time. And so when I got clear on those things, it made it so much easier. I looked forward to it. I made it happen. I have another example I won't share right now, but when I had Oli, when he was born, we had a really hard time with breastfeeding, and I had to pump a lot. And breast pumping is not really fun. It's like one of the worst things ever. Not really, but it was just a huge pain in the ass, and I had to wash everything and sanitize everything, in addition to just the process of pumping. And I had to come up with that as well. To make it something that I would feel good about instead of resistance to, I had to find 3 positive things for myself. Like I created 3 positive things in order to make that happen. So what can you do? What are you having some resistance to? Maybe you have something that you really find is important. Maybe you do want to start running or moving more or working out or going to the gym, or maybe you want to start eating more vegetables or getting more fiber in your diet like the ladies in the Magic Makers are this month. We're really focusing on fiber. My favorite topic. And what is something that you really want to do, but then you have that resistance to it? It starts to get clunky. You're not like, you start maybe the first week of January, you feel really good about it, but maybe the second week you start to drop off a little bit, or you start to just lose your momentum. What's something that you really care about, but it's a little hard. It's not quite feeling good yet. What can you do? What can you do to find 3 positive things? What can you incentivize yourself with? What are 3 things you can kind of bribe yourself with that will be positive about that experience and get really clear on them. So maybe when you, just as a kind of a very generic example of going to the gym. A lot of people, like that's when usually it's the busiest, is January. So you really have the intention of working out, say 3 times a week, and you really want that to happen. But then you start to have your kids get sick, or you have to work late, or you didn't get your workout in the morning, or whatever it is, or you have to drive to the gym, whatever. And there's a lot of things that can start to come up that create this resistance, and it makes it harder to make it happen if you're not really feeling super passionate and tuned into what feels super good about it for you. So again, there are going to be 3 things that feel good for you and that you create for yourself. But as an example, it could be, again, like with mine, it could be that it's your time. That you going to the gym is your time to escape a bit from your work responsibilities, from your family responsibilities, from your social responsibilities, whatever they are. And that's your time. And that can feel really like just, you want to guard that with your life. And so if that's something that really values for you. On the flip side, if you're someone who's super social, it could be your time to connect with other people. You see like 2 groups of people at the gym. The ones that want to chat and that want to talk and are really super outgoing. And then there's the ones that put their headphones in and they don't talk to anyone. And that's more my style. I don't put headphones in, but I definitely I kind of head down, work hard, and do my thing. And I don't really talk to people. So for me, it's my time. Versus someone else, it could be one of your really big positives is that it's social and that you go with a friend or you meet a friend or you go to a group class or whatever, but that's something that you get really clear on. What's one of your positives? Another one could be that you get really clear on how you feel afterwards, and you always remind yourself when you're done with your workout or when you're leaving, and you have some sort of, you intentionally take mental note or even write it down in a journal, and you get clear on what those feelings are. What's that high that you feel? What's that strength, mental, physical strength that you're building? What is it that you love? Like what feels so good right when you finish? The accomplishment, whatever it is. But you intentionally take that time to really think about what feels so good. And then maybe another thing could be that you get to go, I don't know, you can create whatever you want. You get to go to the sauna or something like that. The fact that you made it to the gym, then you allow yourself 5 to 10 minutes in the sauna if that's something you love. Or that you get to, whatever, if you do 3 times a week, you get to go get a massage. Something that's gonna be a huge plus for you. And find those 3 things. So that's your homework. Is find those 3 things that you feel so good and that help you feel so good and motivated about doing something that you know is important for you, but that you're feeling some resistance to. And report back to me, let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear if this helps you, if you find something, and what your 3 things are. What do you find super positive and motivating for you about doing that action? All right, let me know any questions, and I'll hope to talk to you guys again soon. Bye.